this season. They may have found something with Mike Glennon at quarterback. The next move for the Bucs more. What do you think?
Well, what has been discussed from the league sources I've talked to is that if they made a change, if they made a change, made a clean sweep, they may look, the Glazer family, at reconstituting their former organization where Rich McKay, who's now the Atlanta Falcons president, who was the in charge of the Bucs organization, that they may look to reconstitute that organization, and Rich McKay being a candidate, and then Lovie Smith would become the leading head coaching candidate there. But that's not set in stone, but that's what league sources have been discussing, that watch out, if they make a change in Tampa, this is one of the scenarios that could come true.
And Lovie Smith is going to be in play for some jobs here. Lovie Smith's name is going to become popular here. Washington, he'll be on that radar. Tampa, he's expected to be on the radar. I was told that at the very least, Lovie Smith will be interviewed for the job. So clearly, that's a direction they could go. And more scenario that has been discussed makes a lot of sense with Rich McKay at the top, Lovie Smith at the bottom, both in Tampa. Be an experienced combination.
Well, and you guys said earlier on SportsCenter that the Glazer family, who owns the Bucs, kind of does things by its own timetable, certainly. You said 1 year waiting all the way to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, but this was a quicker timetable. Yeah. Clearly, their patience had run out here where they decided to make the change. And Greg Schiano, now you wonder if his name will come into play at Penn State, because Bill O'Brien is expected to move on from Penn State at some point. So Penn State's going to be looking for a head coach. Greg Schiano would figure to be on Penn State's radar. So the coaching carousel begins to start spinning here with some of the moves and some of the pieces, and there's some evidence of it right there.
Remember at midseason when this team was winless and they had the issues with Josh Freeman and the staph infections, you said, this guy, there's no way Greg Schiano lasts. But they had turned it around, and about 2 weeks ago, everybody felt good there about their situation. The last 2 weeks, you could start to feel more of the negative vibes as the team did not finish well, and even some consternation about the $16 million contract they paid Darrelle Revis this year for.
Right.
Because Revis clearly was not totally recovered from that knee surgery and played at not the same level.
And keep in mind here, now we're really getting ahead of it, but Revis is on a series of 1 year contracts with no guaranteed money that whoever comes in Tampa will have to make a decision on whether or not they want to pay Darrelle Revis $16 million for next year. And if they don't want to pay him, they release him, and he becomes an unrestricted free agent.
So what's the first domino that has to get put into place? Do you make the Rich McKay move and then he hires his own coach? Does a coach come in? It's tough to believe a coach would come in before a GM.
No, the way they've structured it for the most part, they have a general manager in place. Now they could try and change the model, but certainly you would hire the front office boss, and then he'd build the organization and make a decision on hiring a coach. Now, the Glazers have, usually the ownership always makes the final call on a coach. A general manager would present, hey, here's the right guy, and they would either rubber stamp it or want to continue to look.